Hello, and thank you for listening to our presentation today on Photography as Art, a Lesson Sequence. This Grade 4 lesson sequence has been designed to cover three areas of the Victorian curriculum, namely digital technologies, visual arts, and science. In addition, the cross-curricular priority of sustainability will be encompassed within these activities. I will now provide you with a brief overview of the learning sequence before handing over to my colleagues who will go into greater detail. 1. Students will attend an exhibition at the Centre of Contemporary Photography in Fitzroy and be exposed to photography as an art form. 2. Students will receive basic instructions in operating a camera. This may be a mobile phone or a standard digital camera, and there will be particular emphasis on close-ups and nature photography. 3. The students will undertake a field trip to Warringeen Park to photograph the wetlands and the living creatures that inhabit this area. 4. The students will create a photographic collage from the photographs that they've taken themselves. And 5. Students will present their work to an audience and explain that their work aims to highlight the ecological importance of the Warringeen Park and its wetlands.
The first phase is for students to have an idea of the learning journey and gap preparation. The teacher will take them to a real photography exhibition in the Center for Contemporary Photography. There's now exhibiting a new photo show about Australian life and culture from a famous artist. After the exhibition, students will join a 3-hour workshop about how to make a collage. The lecturer is from Melbourne Collage Assembly. Each participant will produce 1 or 2 collages under guidance. The second phase is to finish photo taking. The teacher will use scavenger hunt, tell a story, and show and tell to encourage students to take photos and improve their ways of looking at things. This part can relate to Victorian science curriculum because the teacher will take students to different places and observe living and non-living things. The students have got a theme and photos before. Phase 3 requires them to finish their collages. In order to suit students' interests and abilities. For hands-on kids, they can create a physical collage. They can print off the photographs, cut and paste onto post paper. For those familiar with computers, they can do digital collages with Canvas. The last phase is to do a student exhibition. Students can hand their artworks with a few explaining words below. This also matches the Victorian visual art curriculum requirements. The teacher will invite parents, school staff, and other class students to view and give comments. Students can vote for their favorite collage. The teacher will also give feedback to individual students later.
The first 2 activities have a major focus on developing students' observational skills as they view some photographs within an exhibition. Photographs are all made, taken, and constructed by skillful artists, so students have the opportunity to analyze and explain the interpretation. Visiting a photography exhibition allows students to observe art closely. In a primary school setting, this might involve describing the mood of the photograph, what colors and imagery are evoked, the lines and shadows. The 4 levels of C has a concept called mini-C level of creativity. This is the first spark that drives the creative process. At the mini-C level of creativity, it is creating art that is meaningful rather than of high quality that is the most important aspect. Across these 2 activities, students therefore have the opportunity to become inspired by photographs and then set out to capture what is personally important to them. Activity 3 and 4 is about creating a collage. Students can either use digital mediums or physical mediums. Studies suggest that the result of learning should not be the only criteria, but the process in creating such artwork is just as important. Students are able to generate a wide range of their own ideas, and this results in very different collages from all the students in the classroom. With physical mediums, students may use scissors to cut, glue to paste, or stick things together before placing them down on their good copy. With digital mediums, students may experiment with different font types, if they want to have text on their collage, or they can enlarge or shrink certain photos to create their own arrangement.
Here we have outlined how our learning activities connect to policy. The Alice Springs and Bantua Education Declaration of 2019, in its second goal for young Australians, stated that they should become confident and creative individuals who show initiative, use their creative abilities, and are enterprising. Our students will show initiative by preparing for their project before going out into the field. They will also have to charge or be responsible for an electronic device. Students will demonstrate creative abilities through applying what they learned as a result of meeting professional artist photographers. They will be enterprising when they plan how they can exhibit their work for viewing by the school community. Another policy connection is to the Department of Education. One intention for visual arts is for students to learn about the role of the professional artist and their function in and contribution to society. This connects to the excursion, where they will hear about the social and cultural significance of the photographer's work. Then later on they will consider the contribution of their own artwork, which is likely to be from an ecological perspective. These are some connections to research. Bernard et al. Say that arts and sciences are not separate or even separable endeavours. Allowing science and art to be taught together holds the potential for new cognitive capacities, which has wider implications for society. When children pay close attention to the unseen processes happening in a garden, ethics become entangled with aesthetics and they develop a living knowledge. Joanne Blannon states that an interdisciplinary approach is taken to everything children do when they get involved in STEAM projects. In our learning sequence, the art teacher will collaborate with the science teacher, and students will discover a new appreciation for the micro-level world around them. Blannon also writes about technology in the arts, saying, "The idea of artists coming together to discuss the impact of technology on their artistic expression is exciting. Students and our classrooms will increasingly have new forms of art available to them and new technology tools. In our activities, students are engaging with technological tools for scientific and artistic endeavour, for example, devices and software for taking, arranging and exhibiting photographs of small life forms."
Supporting student mental health and well-being has always been a challenging and important role for educators. It is often difficult for a teacher to fully perceive student mental health and well-being, especially when dealing with a large class of students that each have their own different experiences, mental resilience, and coping strategies. This activity will support student mental well-being in multiple ways. In one way is that it allows students to freely express themselves through their creative collage. Students will be able to create a work of art based off their different experiences, cultures, and ideas that will be shared with others. This provides students with a sense of safe space in the school that they are able to freely share and display their thoughts and ideas without fear of discrimination. Freedom of expression is also oftentimes a very liberating feeling for students, as they are usually subjected to many rules and regulations. Being able to create something that represents themselves will be able to help students relieve some of their stresses, improving their well-being. Lastly, the teacher can try to determine student well-being by observing for any changes in mood, behavior, or self-presentation of students during this activity, whether it be when they are taking photos for their collage, during the creation of the collage, its presentation, or even through the collage itself. Through this, teachers will be able to observe for any early signs that a student might require help with their mental well-being and help them with accessing the well-being support available at school or seek external professional help if required. During the different activities planned for the sequence, to ensure student safety, students will be required to provide a signed form by their caretakers or parents that will provide the school with authorization for students to attend the exhibition excursion. This is to ensure that the parents know where their child will be going and that they are allowing their child to attend the excursion. During the excursion, students will be supervised at all times by teachers to ensure their safety in public areas. Each teacher will be in charge of supervising 15 students to ensure that all students are adequately supervised. This arrangement is based off the recommended ratio of 1 teacher to 15 students set by the Victorian government. In the next activity, where kids will be going around the school, wetlands, at home, or at a park, both teachers and parents will be required to supervise them to ensure that there are no accidents or harm while they are taking pictures. Sunscreen and hats should also be worn at all times during this activity to prevent sunburn or a higher risk of skin cancer. During the collage creation phase, students should be supervised to prevent any harm that could occur while cutting with scissors, glue, or anything sharp they might be using. Lastly, teachers should provide a safe space for students to exhibit their collage. They should make sure that students feel that they are safe to share their work with other students, teachers, and parents. They should have the feeling that school is a safe place for them, free from judgment and discrimination.